Guess who's back? I have made 5 videos about Dreadknight, and today I will share my final build along with some of my latest findings that you need to know to master this class. Before we start, I want to tell you my impression of playing Dreadknight for a whole season, divided into 8 criteria. First, farming. Without a doubt, the Dreadknight is one of the best classes due to warrior dash skill, automatic attack from sword summon, and its own big area attack. Second, the skill area. The main skill has no blind spot, especially if you are using blowout to expand the area more than your whole screen. The sword summon also can go beyond your screen and hit enemies from afar. Third, utility. While the sword summon might not contribute too much to our overall damage, it's convenient, especially for auto life steal from Apex bonus. Fourth, survival. There are too many things that can keep Dreadknight alive, but I deducted a point because the main skill costs HP just to activate, and sometimes it can be risky when fighting a large amount of monsters, especially on the highest Valkyrie floors. Fifth, in general, there is no fancy effect that could lead to massive lags like Elementalist and Storm Warden. Sixth, Dreadknight gameplay is very convenient, just press and hold one button each for both dash and screen-wide continuous attack. 7th, max damage. The burst attack from Dreadknight is around middle level, but it can't keep the maximum damage for long. And lastly, constant damage. To be honest, this might be the only weakness of this class, with very mediocre damage from the main skill, especially when Primo Hellheart is not used. This is my current Fatebound set. It has some changes from the last video because right now I am focused on the modifier more. As for my equipment, is basically almost finished, just need to reroll some more. I left my remarks on each piece of equipment so you can strive for better modifiers. Now let's move on to the topics. There are 14 things you need to understand better. Of course, it's all based on my experience and testing. So it might be different from what other people found. First, Field Surgeon Ring. This is a top choice for survival, but you need to sacrifice one of these equipment and lose potential extra elemental damage. I don't use it simply because I don't have resources for rerolling, and my survivability is already great at the end game with help from healing chip. Second, Epicenter. It used to be impactful before the new update for Red Weapon, but now it's simply not working at all. I'm not sure about other players though. Third, Valiant Strike. It's one of the best Fatebound if you want to get higher damage on Scarecrow and fighting bosses, but its effect limitation makes it not very useful when fighting normal monsters. Fourth, Twin Novi and Hex used at the same time. I think this one is also bugged since there is no difference with just a normal Twin Novi. Fifth, Rogue Dagger and Soul. For my testing and estimation, this weapon is actually might be the best one for Dreadknight. It can increase your total critical chance directly to 100% and increase crit damage at the same time. While the attack power is low, the base skill cooldown speed from Dual Dagger can actually compensate the lack of damage, and make the overall damage becomes higher than other weapon. Sixth, Penetration. If you already have high enough elemental damage, focusing penetration on Helixer Infusion might be a better choice to increase the damage multipliers. 7th, Damage to Boss Modifiers. It's actually one of the best modifiers to have for early and mid-game. Sadly, it is not very useful in late game since there is no boss strong enough to pose a challenge. 8. Attack Speed. This modifier is actually not affecting our main skill release speed or in any way. The biggest use for attack speed is actually for our sword summon, to hit monster faster and keeping us alive from apex bonus lifesteal. So, you can either use it or not, and it's totally fine either way. 9th, skill cooldown. This modifier is actually very important for Dreadknight since it will increase your overall damage since from number of hit increase. But I think skill cooldown is soft capped at 200. And this is the test between 270 skill cooldown and 190. 10th, skill effect cooldown. This one is useful especially to shorten the Primo Hellheart skill occurrence. Great to have if you plan to climb higher Valkyrie floor. 11th, extra elemental damage. If you don't have the corresponding elemental damage, this modifier is actually not that good. You can see here me using bunch of extra elemental damage on my sword, but the damage output is kinda low. Twelfth, Valkyrie boons. For Scarecrow, I like to use this set simply because they are giving a moderate amount of physical damage. But for Valkyrie, using this set will be a better option, especially Harbinger of Helheim on Dark Maelstrom. You can hear the boons activates every time the skill is casted. As for the last two topics, you can go check my previous video for detailed information. And that's it for the video. I hope all my explanation are clear and useful, so don't forget to smash that like button or I'll smash your sisters. See you next time.